The wind howled like a starving beast outside the crumbling wooden house, its rotten shutters clattering against the frame, as though something unseen was trying to claw its way in. And Farid, drenched in cold sweat, I said, "Don't," wished he had never taken the shortcut through the forest that evening, because the moment he stepped into that shadow swallowed clearing, he saw the crooked silhouette of this house waiting like a predator. I said, "Don't," its windows glinting faintly in the dusk like the eyes of something alive, and though every instinct screamed for him to turn back. His feet had carried him to the front door, almost as if guided by a will not his own, the boards underfoot groaning as though they resented his presence. And when the door creaked open, a stench of damp earth and something far fouler rolled out to meet him, clinging to his throat. Yet he stepped inside because the storm had risen behind him, trees swaying violently like they wanted to uproot themselves and chase him. So the house, for all its menace, felt like the lesser threat. But the moment he crossed the threshold, the wind outside seemed to vanish, replaced by a suffocating stillness, the kind of silence that feels heavy, as if it is listening. And his eyes adjusted to the dimness to reveal peeling wallpaper that hung in strips like torn flesh, the floor coated with a thin layer of dust, except for a single trail of bare, wet footprints leading deeper into the darkness, each print oddly elongated, as if made by something human but wrong, horribly wrong. And when he followed them, because some strange compulsion drew him forward, he found himself in a narrow hallway lined with tall mirrors, each one warped so that his reflection looked twisted, grinning at him even though his own mouth was shut tight, the reflection's eyes following him in a way that made his stomach twist. And in one of the mirrors he saw movement, not in his own form, but behind him, a tall shadow that was too close, far too close. Though when he spun around, the hallway was empty, but the air had grown colder, his breath visible in faint puffs, and from somewhere ahead came a faint dripping sound, irregular and slow, yet each drop echoed as though falling into a vast emptiness. So he pressed on until the hallway ended at a door slightly ajar, from which that smell, wet soil and decay, poured more strongly. And with trembling fingers, he pushed it open to find a room with no windows, only a single chair in the center, upon which sat a shape draped in a sheet that bulged and shifted faintly as though something inside was breathing. And his heart thundered as he whispered, "Who's there?" though some part of him wished for no answer. But the sheet began to rise, slow and deliberate, revealing a face that should not exist, its skin pale and stretched too tightly over bones, its eyes black pits that seemed to draw him in, and its mouth impossibly wide, splitting open in a grin that kept growing until it seemed to cut into its cheeks. "Don't." And it spoke his name in a voice that sounded like a chorus of whispers buried deep underground, telling him it had been waiting for him, that it had been in the mirrors, in the forest, in his dreams, and it knew the taste of his fear. And before he could move, before he could even scream, the thing was no longer on the chair, but inches from his face, cold fingers sliding around his neck. And the mirrors in the hallway behind him began to shudder, each reflection now showing not him, but the creature's face. Dozens of them grinning in perfect unison. And he stumbled back into the hallway, but the door he had come through was gone, replaced by yet another mirror. And in it he saw himself, or something wearing his skin, walking calmly away while he remained trapped inside the glass, pounding silently as the figure outside turned its head and smiled at him with that same endless grin. And somewhere far away, he thought he heard the front door of the house creak open, letting in another lost traveler from the storm.